Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Correspondences for Work and Magic on Wednesday, the 1st of September, 2021. Well, so after what Texas did and the Supreme Court didn't do last night, which was to even, they just let it go. And so the new draconian abortion rules are going to go into into law here today in Texas, and yeah, things are being done to stop all that, but we'll see. Um, but I think that what I'm wanting to recommend today, favorability is excellent. I'm not really going to go through a whole lot here, because you guys know where this is here over either in the forecast or on Patreon where the bulk of this is going to be. It's also over on Medium, but not the recommendations, just a little overview. Um, so what I did here, I'm referring again to today's rune divination, Thurazaz, Uruz, and Ingus. Interestingly enough, I've included on the forecast over at Stepping Aside, that's Uruz, and this is Ingus. Um, over on the forecast in the aspect pattern section, there is Thor's hammers listing. There's some Thor's hammer aspects. There's actually four, but one of them I didn't feel was all that important, but three of them are. And because it's Thor's hammer and we've got Thursaz in the reading, there's a link there. And it's because it's time to stand up, right? It's time to stand up for fundamental rights and speak truth to power. Thurazaz, as Thor's runes, aligns with the manifesting power of Uruz and Ingus to reset our course. It's an energetic convergence of sorts that also aligns with the three Thor's hammer aspects in today's astrological chart, where the battle lines are made clear. Uruz provides the energy of source as the impetus behind our actions today, while Ingus provides the sudden release of that inspirational force into our perceptions and behavior, i.e. the casting of the spell into the collective consciousness. It's time to stand tall and speak out for our fundamental rights, whether it surrounds the draconian attack on a woman's right to choose a safe abortion in Texas, or the same sort of attack on the safety of our children, or voting rights, or anything else. Whatever. Pick one. It doesn't even pick them all. It doesn't really matter, right? Let me just go through here. Now, okay, so I think that's all I'm going to do. Refer to the general correspondences for Work and Magic there for the kinds of things you might include as well. But this is what I'm recommending. Refer to today's rune divination and aspect patterns, particularly Thor's hammer in the forecast at Stepping Aside, for the underlying energies at work, and craft a working surrounding protection for women and their allies while demanding justice. Think of it as expressing aloud no more to all those who wish to denigrate, harm, and control women. Use whatever methodology you like. It's up to you, whether it's a ritual, just a plain ritual, a knot or cord magic, a bind rune, reversal, or binding spell to essentially bind the anarchists in question to the effect of their own actions. If using a knot spell, focus your intention on each knot tied in a progressive manner to cast the intention to those who are causing harm. Let's see, if using an actual binding spell or reversal spell, the idea is to either bind the outcome of their efforts to anyone causing harm or reverse the effect on the innocent. Invoke the goddesses into your working. Eris, because Eris is also part of the Thor's aspect patterns, two of them anyway. So definitely include her. She's the one that deals with strife and conflict and all of that. She is the, if you think Mars being the masculine power, speaking truth to power, Eris is the female warrior within. Okay, and she's the one who's going to speak truth to power no matter what anyone thinks, right? A little Lilith kind of there, but a little more controlled than Lilith might be. Bridget, Diana, Tiamat, Kali, Lilith, and Hecate also come to mind. But if creating a bind rune from Thurazaz, Uruz, and Ingus, you might do something like this. I just did this very quickly. And incorporate that into your workspace, circle, sacred space. If you're going outside, you can actually draw it on the ground with a staff or a stick, whatever you've got. and then have that be within your circle or sacred space when you're performing it, and stand within it to gain that kind of power. You can, if you're doing this inside though, you could, if you don't want to do it with a stick itself and draw it out on the ground, you can do it with an athame, which is, here's an ornate one. It's a goddess oriented, and that's also very nice. Here's a smaller one that is sort of Celtic in nature. Let's see, and then here's one. My personal favorite, my husband made this for me. Yes, he did. The Witch's Consort is quite crafty. And so he did this for me. And so you could just take and draw it out, around you, draw your bind rune, or just draw your circle with them too. And again, you can stand within this right here in the center of the Thurazaz right here, because here you've got Ingus on the outside, you've got Urus here. And then here you connect into Thurazaz, and so you could stand right here if you're going to draw it out on the ground. That's where I would stand. Speak at that point. You're going to speak your words to cast your intention, whatever they are. Adiurovos is I bind you. Let's see. This is an all hands on deck moment, though, and you're going to need to use all the power available to you to manifest a better outcome, irrespective of the focus of this. Whether you're going to do everything under the sun that's happening right now, or you're going to focus on abortion rights, protection of our children, voting rights, justice for our country regarding the insurrection back in January, Black Lives Matter, decency, respect, whatever this focus is going to be for you. This is a very, very serious time. The other thing you can do, this is a Rowan wand. This is very simple. You can also use your wand to draw out the bind rune on the ground, or to draw out your circle if you don't want to use an athame. Just kind of depends on what you like to do. Athames are very, very powerful. This is a kind of an ornate wand. I've used both copper, silver, some different stones. I've done runes on there. And so it has a little bit more. This is my favorite wand, though, to use. And again, I like to use it for bindings. I don't know. I like it. So I made it out of a piece of wild sage that's growing. We live on the high desert, and so you've got a lot of sage plants that are out there, and bitter brush and rabbit brush and all of that. But the sage is cool, and I've taken some of it and used it as smudges I've done. Not only the garden sage or the white sage, I've used that as well, and that's also very cool. So to use, if you want to invoke. Here you have, let's see, this is Lilith, Hecate, and Bridget. Yes. So Lilith, Hecate, and Bridget, this is one I've done. You can do something like that. You can take and either use a magic square or circle, and then convert the names of the goddesses into a number, and then have your numbers there. Or you could have letters if you wanted to do that. You could also fill it with runes or Theban script or whatever you want to use, and then use those to make your to draw your and usually it's numbers. You're going to use the number table to convert your letters to numbers, and then you would then take your table and then draw from one to the other, and there you have your sigil, basically. And that's, I think some of this is what I did. Bridget, not so much. I found that one, but I believe these two might be ones I did. I think they were. And I just used a magic square to do that. And this is just kind of a invoking goddess presence on the altar. You can use that. Something like that you can create. So, but right now, this is a very difficult time. There's essentially a bounty on women and their allies for seeking an abortion, even talking about it. So if you had a counselor that was talking to a woman about it, she could be arrested, she could be sued, or whatever this is going to be, right? This is outrageous. And the wording in it actually violates the constitutional protections that we're given for this. And so I would think that at some point this is all going to get remedied, but we can't take the chance, and we don't know how many people are going to be affected in the meantime. So we can't sit by and do nothing. And this is one thing as a witch you can do. Now, if you're going to get into a group and do this, if this is for your coven, or you bring some other solitary witches into the whole thing for extra power, that's great. Wear a mask, please. Everybody in masks. And observe the safe distancing when you do this. You don't want to create any more problems, and you want to set the standard for others to follow. So that's, if anything we can do as witches, it is to set the standard for others to follow. So in whatever we're doing. So there you go. You could also in your quarters, you could put the runes. You could draw the runes, Ansu's for Odin's rune. You could then take the Norn runes, Hagalaz, Isa, and Nothi's, and you could use all 4 of them, just assign them to each quarter, right? You could do that as well for additional power. The Norns are very powerful runes, so is Ansu's, being Odin's rune. This is spirit eloquence. And so, even though you want to bring forth all of the energy you have to demand all of this end and demand safety and protection for all, you still want to do it from the standpoint of spirit and not have it come from ego. So there you go. That's what I've got for today. I know it's not Activist Thursday. I guess we're going to have Activist Wednesday today. So anyhow, thanks for watching, and be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.